Yo, this is the real deal. And if your name is Zach, then you trash.
Yeah.
I had to throw that out there.
Absolute garbage. Garbaggio.
There's not a lot of good people out there named Zach. That's all I gotta say.
the whole name. Throw it away.
Damn one.
Oh man. Zach, Kathy's, Karen's. It's something about a name, I swear. How you guys doing today?
I'm super special, awesome as always.
Always super special, awesome. Okay. What about you,
Work hard.
Allie Rose, the divine
I'm feeling
Rose?
good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling okay.
Good for you.
Good.
I am okay. Never better, never worse. Always baseline. 1 heartbeat per minute.
If you're always baseline, what is that? Because baseline is only defined by the variances. So if you're always the same,
it's alive.
Is that baseline?
It's alive, spelled AH-LIVE. Alive.
Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know about that spell. It must be Eastern European.
That is where I got it from. Yep. Eastern European. Yeah.
Makes sense, Gotta take a trip.
So we gonna hop right in tonight, peeps. We are talking about bad language. So
naughty words.
That's right, naughty words. I'm gonna open by telling a quick story. So for those who know, they know that I am in a relationship with a person who swears like a sailor. And
really, I didn't know that.
Yes.
I am also a swearing of the sailor person.
Yes, and we
swear.
Also.
we are together. Our vernacular pretty similar.
And then for those who attend this podcast, also know that I have a child and/or 2 children potentially. However,
potentially 2.5 children.
And I grew up in a family where if you swore, you got smacked in the face and a spanking. So till this day, I do not swear. I use booty and then insert another noun as my swear words. Right? Okay. So, if you being a dick, then I'm gonna be like, you a butthead, or you a chair butt. Like, I'm just gonna say some version of butt or booty and then some other noun, and that's how I'm gonna describe you. And so, that's my swear word. So,
are you allowed to say the word sucks?
Yeah, sucks. Yeah, well, so we'll get into this, but the way that I define swear words were things that I couldn't say in front of my parents. So if I couldn't say it in front of my parents, it was a swear word. And I think swear words are, they're not objective, they're subjective. Like, it's based on your family and all that stuff. So, that's neither here nor there. Anyways, so my child attends daycare, and I walk into said daycare to pick up said child that I apparently have. And the teacher who was there was cracking up, and she said, hey, she was talking to my son, and she says, hey, were you just using potty words again? So then I was like, and I was like, he was saying potty words? And she was like, yes, he's been saying potty words the last couple of days, and all the kids are saying them, but it's just really funny. So I'm sitting there like, it's funny that and on top of that, this is like a Christian daycare, so I'm sitting here like, they're saying potty words and y'all just think it's funny? I was like, okay.
I mean, it is kind of funny.
Whatever, okay. So then I'm sitting here like, dang, Candace, I'm throwing out government names. So I'm sitting there like, dang, she out here just swearing, and now we got our kids swearing in school. And I was like, what kind of stuff is he saying? Like, you don't have to repeat it exactly. She's like, oh, stuff like, booty cheek and butt head. And I'm sitting there like, oh, dang, it's me. I'm I'm the one got him swearing.
You're the problem. You were the problem.
Yeah, me talking about butt and booty head and stuff. So
look at you.
I don't know.
You're the problem.
We'll start this way. What kind of swearing and swear words? Like, how did you guys grow up in that like kind of culture? Like, was it okay to swear? If there was swearing, what kind of stuff was there in your families?
I mean, there was definitely swearing. I was not allowed to say any of the swear words, like the 4 or 5 letter swear words, but I feel like everything else was basically totally fine. Now, my uncle and aunt, who are like pretty religious, like there's lots of words that are like naughty words where like they can't say the word sucks. Or
oh, that's pretty intense.
It is pretty intense.
They
Or
were not playing.
They don't say the word sex?
They can't say the word sucks. Like, something sucks, it's like,
Oh,
no, you have to say, like, yeah.
I thought you said sex. I was like, interesting. They can't say.
Well, no. Abstinence is the only thing.
Just
Sex, what is that?
Well, that,
The
right,
snort
yeah.
is the only way babies are made, I swear.
Oh, and you can't even, you also can't say the word, like, butt, so they say the word behind her. Behind. You're behind.
That's so. In my house, yes, that is. I was like much like Allie, where it's like swearing happened a lot. I wasn't allowed to swear, but this is also why I swear the way I do, is because I heard it a lot. But I would go to different places. Like one of my aunts, she ran a daycare, and she was also really religious, and so there was like a whole bunch of different. A lot of my family is honestly really religious and are very like intense religion. That's what I'll say.
That high supreme religion.
They're very traditionalist. Very like, oh,
that's dangerous.
Exactly. But me personally, you know how I express myself. There's just certain words that are just fun to say, and I, they just as they was said in SpongeBob, are sentence and answers.
When I was 20 and I worked as a server, I like never ever swore. I was super polite, very like formal.
Oh my goodness.
And because I worked in a bar, like this manager like made it a goal to like break this like politeness out of me.
I would have did the exact same thing.
I have to admit, I've done that to my students before, so I get it.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
and so then I became a really big like hothead. Like I just one time like had a meltdown. The customers were too much. It was too crazy, too busy, too much stuff was not happening the way it needed to. And then it's like something snaps in you, and once that happens, it can't be unsnapped. And so now,
yeah, I know.
now I'm pretty demanding, pretty mouthy, pretty I am the way I am.
Let it all out. I actually had a coworker who was like that, and he was very, very, reserved. He didn't want to curse, but every once in a while, we would catch him slipping. And every time he would slip up, we would just sit there and have a big deal about it. We were like, "Oh my god, look what he said."
Yeah.
There will be email chains about it.
You ever interact with somebody who like doesn't seem like they swear, but like when they like you can know them for a while, they just don't seem like the type of person who swears, but each time they swear, you like, oh yeah, I forgot you swear.
Yeah. It's like hearing your grandma swear. You're like, wait, what?
Yes. My parents, as they've gotten older, they've swore more. Like younger,
That's funny.
It was like
They're crankier now.
Yeah, it was like if I was in the car with one of them alone, they would swear. But like at home, nobody swore. But then now, my parents will just be like letting off all kinds of bombs, and I'm sitting there like, oh my god. I still remember the first time I was in the car with my little sister, and she was swearing, and I was like, yeah. See.
Nah, I'm the opposite.
I've only heard my grandma swear one time, and I can remember like the one time.
No.
It's like iconic.
Yeah.
No.
That was really-
Apparently, my family is full of hotheads, and oh my goodness, there were so many times where we would be out and she would just go off,
Yeah.
and I like that. Yeah, like, you know what? Now that I think about it, everything's starting to make sense now. Like, I'm like, I get why I am the way I am. Because yeah, like, so most of the time, yeah, everything's cool. But like, let's say you out at a restaurant and your order's wrong. Oh, well, we're good in here, strapped in for a good 30 minutes of just yelling. Maybe not swearing all the time, but like, we're escalating. I see how we're going, and I'm just sitting there like in my chair being like, please, I just want to go. I want to leave now. I want to do, because I'll swear, but I'm always casual about it. I'm not going to swear when I'm angry. I just swear. Go ahead.
Right, I've been talking about swear words, but like bad words is what we're talking about.
Like moist. Why can't we say moist? It's a good word. It so perfectly describes certain things.
I like how that's what came to mind.
Because people get mad when you say moist.
Yeah.
Because
And I'm
moist
like, why?
is a weird word.
It's not. You
feel like-
only make it weird.
I feel like moist, like there's a few words out there that you can probably say to somebody and they not know what it means, but they can feel like what it means just based on the word.
No.
Yeah, like
no.
context.
Yes.
Yeah, like if you be like, yeah, they was real moist, you'd be like, that makes me feel kind of slimy.
Yes, but that cake is also delicious and moist. You need moist cake.
Yeah, you do.
That's hilarious.
Nobody wants some dry ass cake.
Yeah, so when I was thinking about bad words, although that is funny, like bad as in words that suck, like moist. I was also thinking about words that are like taboo to say, and talking about, you know, cursing versus swearing. And that might be a little more spiritual of a conversation, but I think there is a difference.
Yeah.
I will go on record saying that my parents stopped letting me watch SpongeBob. I've since then watched SpongeBob, but sorry, mother and father. However,
the episode.
Yeah, the episode where they were swearing behind the behind the dumpster, and it was like the the dolphin
like
noises.
animal noises instead. Yeah.
Still to this day, like my favorite episode. Like,
literally, I want to get a soundboard and just play that dolphin noise every time, just to do.
Yeah.
That'll be like our censor. Each, like, to make this a family-friendly podcast, we'll use that as the censor.
Yeah.
That or the foghorn.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
hopping into it, I grew up believing that when you swearing is swearing, or cussing is cussing. You know, you can cuss or you can swear, whatever. But I grew up learning that certain words, even if it's not a cuss or a swear word, is a word that can curse a person. And I think it's similar to when you say like when you tell a person to their face that they suck. Like, it's the same thing. Like, that like sticks to a person. Like, dang.
Like telling someone like to go to hell.
Yeah, like something like that. Like, some people can just shrug it off, and that's neither here nor there. But some people are like, that sticks to their soul, and that's a hard thing to get rid of.
Yeah. This is when things get really complicated for me.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. To me, personally, I don't want to say words don't mean anything, but words are always just going to be words. They only get weight based on what you put onto them. So if someone said stuff to me all the time, I'll just be like, all right, whatever, cool. I don't really care. But back to what you're saying is, if someone says something that I believe to be true, that will hit me differently.
Yeah.
Like and me personally, I just try to sit there and get rid of that. My whole philosophy on words and curses and all these things were, look, I cannot predict or figure out what's going to do what to who. There's so many different things that can harm people. There's so many different things that can do it. And as a child, and even still as an adult, I'm very blunt. And so I just say how I feel. And I don't really think too much about it. And because of that, my stance is I'm going to say what I want. And however anyone has to deal with it is how you have to deal with it. I'll help you deal with it. But I'm still going to just do what I want. Because that's what I do.
I have certain words that like make me more upset than others. Like I hate when someone uses the word bitch around me, because to me that is a word that is specifically used, like it's derogatory towards women, and so I don't like that.
It's actually derogatory towards men and women, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. And maybe it's because you're like, you know, as somebody who identifies as a woman, like you might focus on women, but if it's like the fastest way to get a man or a macho man or however you want to interpret that, like the fastest way to get them into a bad mood is for them to be called a B word. Especially
not even necessarily a bad mood, but
it's because to them then they're being called a woman, like a female, and that is so frustrating. Like,
it's crazy.
And so,
I don't like that.
and here's the thing, because one, I am a firm believer of using it. Literally, there was a period of time where I would everybody else, and I would do it. I would just tell people to just, hey, stop being a B word. That was just my default like response to people anytime something
I don't like that.
I know you don't, and I understand that. But this is what my take is. Yes, I understand your perspective on it. I understand why you would feel that way. And I would probably say in certain contexts, yes, you could sit there and agree. But now we have to go into, does someone saying a context of a word matter? Most of the time when I say that, I didn't really associate it with men or women. It was like, look, anybody who, let's put it this way, anyone who's, all right, the only way I can sit there and think of it is anyone who's stuck on their woe is me bullshit, I would just be like, yo, stop being a B word. I was about to say it, but I stopped because I care about it.
Probably already said it on the podcast at some point.
Nah, I don't think so. Because here's the thing. Surprising thing is, I don't really cuss that much.
Yeah.
Around
You save it for a special occasion.
No, I don't save it for a special occasion. It's really depending on what I'm talking about.
No, I'm talking about like the B word. Like the B word is a special occasion.
Oh, no, I throw that around. That's just, pennies, bro. I just find those on the ground, throw it everywhere, It's that and there's that and then there's the other word where I'm just like, bro, I gotta say. Literally, there was a joke where I go around, I was like, yo, I gotta stop using the B word because it's just bad. It's toxic.
Okay.
But it is toxic.
I'm gonna throw this out there as a question. And this is a cultural question. When you are faced with, let me ask it like this: if you have a friend who doesn't like a specific word that you use, do you A, stop using that word altogether? B, stop using that word around your friend? Or C, maintain and continue to use that word to like basically say like, this is my culture, this is one of the words that I'm gonna keep using because it's part of me.
Depends on context.
Yeah, I think it depends on the word.
So one is context, one is the word, or do you think it's a little bit of both, or more one or the other?
I feel like I'm usually B, where like if I know a word I'm saying is upsetting you, like, okay, I hear your feelings, I can alter my behavior for the hour we're together, that's fine, because I want you to feel comfortable. But like overall, like I'm not gonna change who I am. But also like that doesn't apply to everything. Like, that can apply to the B word, but, like, there's other things where it's like, oh, no, like, that should never be said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like...
So, I will do that same thing, too, where it's like, okay, if someone... It's really much more so on the principle of it. If someone says, look, I just don't like this word, I don't like it used, it makes me feel this way, I'm like, all right, I'll stop. If, let's say, I feel like the principle is unjustified, I'm just going to be like, no, I don't care. And then me personally I will intentionally use it more often to make them uncomfortable, to force a point.
You're a bully.
I am, yes. Look, we're all bullies. We're all bullies. Let's be honest. We're all trying to bully people into behavior we want them to see. And my whole point is, and it's not even just with words. I do that with all actions. I feel bad because that's what one of our friends, two of our friends, didn't like. Oh man, I'm not going to put them on blast. We'll talk about that later. But there was two of my friends who didn't like a certain thing, and then every time we would see it, I would point it out to them specifically because I thought the thing was kind of messed up. Like, I feel like you not liking this is kind of weird on your part, and so I would sit there and constantly bring it up.
You're playing God.
I'm not playing God. I'm playing me. I do what I want, and this is how I feel. Just as how you feel, as you felt it was okay to request someone to stop using a word, I feel it's okay for me to just sit there and do this to make people's behavior change for a way that I see fit.
What is the word for that? Is it like narcissist?
You did the same thing for the B word. What are you talking about? Are we all narcissists because we want to see change in the world? And then yes, call me a narcissist.
Interesting. That's actually a really interesting thought. I'm gonna write that down.
Write that down. Episode 47.
Okay, when we got on the topic of bad words, what came to my mind is like, I guess, bad thoughts, maybe. And you know how they say that, I don't even know who they is, but like, I guess I read somewhere, probably like Twitter, it was like, your like first initial thought is like how society has raised you to think, but your second thought is like actually what your values and like thoughts are. Do you guys ever have that where it's like,
I thought it was
so
yeah.
like the example
Yes.
is like someone has their car parked in two spaces and your initial thought is like, what a booty person. And then but like then your second thought is like, oh, maybe they were in a rush, or maybe, you know, they have an impairment, or like whatever, you know what I'm saying, like that second like way of understanding.
My brain doesn't work like that, but I understand what you're saying.
And that is a common thing, because when I heard it, it wasn't necessarily what society taught you. Your initial it was the same principle. Your initial thought is outside things affect on you, whether it's your, you know, id or whatever, and then your second thought is your actual, this is what you actually are, because you're catching yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like I have
that a lot.
I think I function at baseline of people don't really think about other people when they're taking actions. And that's like the baseline for me. And then I think most of the time when something is more outside of that realm, I'm always like, like, I never have a thought one way or the other. I think I usually have a question. Like if I drove up and I was pulling into a parking spot, but somebody was like parked in two spots, my question would be like, I wonder why they parked in two spots. I almost never am like, oh, I don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, oh, I wonder if they were in a rush. Like my mind is instantly like, it doesn't go past the question. It's like, I wonder why they parked in two spots. And then I probably meditate on that for like the next hour. Like, wow, they parked in two spots.
That's weird.
I feel like that means you're really emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Because I feel like most people.
No.
Most people.
Don't tell him that. See, now we started down this whole thing.
I've taken
Next time we're going to talk about something, he's going to be like,
test. So I know that I'm highly emotionally intelligent.
Okay, see, this is what you started right here.
I think I should take one. I wonder what mine would be.
You should. I feel like it actually. So this is actually a pretty good segue because it teaches you a lot about yourself, like taking the emotion, and it also teaches you like strategies that you can use to like quote unquote get better or become more emotionally intelligent. But what I was thinking about was, so you were talking about thoughts, like what your initial thought is, and I was thinking about the what is it called again? We talked about it several weeks ago, I think. The looking glass self. The idea of what you think other people think about you.
Yes.
I wonder how many people function using the looking glass self on a regular daily basis.
That's the only way I function.
Okay, that was easy. Remember those "that was easy" buttons? Was that Staples or something?
That was Staples. Yeah, that was easy. I love that.
That was easy. I'm thinking about that because there's some people who are just like, I literally don't care. Like, I'm good the way I am, and F the world, basically. But then there's other people who are like so, like, sometimes I don't know if it would be self-conscious or just extra conscious or like meta-conscious about their thoughts and their opinions or appearances and all that kind of stuff. And I always think that kind of stuff is really fascinating.
This is weird. I don't typically care. My literal brain process on that question is, I don't know what you think about me. I'm never going to be able to find out. I'm not going to think about it. But on the same note, I am 100% the type of person who will sit there and be like, I need you. This is going to sound bad. If I need something or I need to do something, I understand enough that if I present myself in these ways, people will respond in this way. And I use that all the time. And so I'm acutely aware of how people perceive me, and I use it, but for the most part, it's usually only to that extent of I need to be aware of what I'm doing or how I'm presenting, so that way this person views me like this, that way they'll do this.
You get the outcome you want. Yeah. I feel like that's all I do. Isn't that all anybody, like, isn't that all basically everybody does?
No, because I don't do that all the time. Like, I try really hard not to be like that. So, for example, in most of my interactions, I am not like that. That's just how I am. Most interactions, I just kind of do what I want, and then I'm like, whatever happens, happens. The only time where that's basically what I said. The only time where I have to do that is when it's like typically related to my job or something that there is a extreme negative consequence that if this doesn't work, something terrible will happen, and I don't want to deal with that.
I think I have. Oh no, you go, Alex.
No, you go.
I think I probably spent the majority of my life being like a manipulator, and I think that it actually is a lot more difficult for me to try to authentically interact with a person and then just let the chips fall where they may. Like, to me, like that, just saying that out loud, I'm like, that sounds so.
It sounds terrible.
Like,
no, that's how I feel.
Okay.
I have the strengths finders, and one of my top ones is always woo. Like, I can win over. Like, I know I have this skill to, like, basically get anybody to like me. Mm-hmm. What an empowering feeling, but also, like, I use it for good or evil. Like,
it's not even about using it for good or evil. It's about draining. So the reason why I feel I can do the same thing. And I don't know. I never took the strength, but I hate it because I always feel that no one ever actually knows me. They just know the manipulation. And
I know, I know you.
Yeah, I know, and we've had this
Are those your
wonderful
crocodiles
moment.
here?
No. But
I
it's
only
like
cry at church, so.
like
Oh, right.
there's a lot. Yeah, that is true. Once per. But it's not necessarily sad. It's just one of those things of there's a lot of people who I 100% know have a false impression of me, and no matter what I tell them, no matter what I do, that manipulation is just ingrained into them, and that's all they can ever think of me as. And it doesn't, like, I have to try really hard.
Do they know that you're being manipulative? That's my question.
I've literally told people like I am not like this. This is not how I am.
I don't think people know how manipulative I am. So you talked about.
Oh,
strengths.
do they know how manipulative I am? No. They don't know. They don't. Yeah.
You talked about strengths, Allie. In my top 5, I have strategic and analytical, and I would argue that I am phenomenally adept at figuring out how to communicate with a person in a way to get what I want.
Yeah.
And when it comes to communicating, I'm very patient. I'm not a naturally patient person, but when it comes to communicating with another person to get what I want, I'm usually very patient. Like, I don't mind not getting what I want this time, because I know that it's a chess match. And on some level, it's like a game. Like I literally just said chess match. Like there's a enjoyment to subtly, the whole Inception movie. I love how Inception is the word that's used incorrectly. Like, we just say, ooh, they just got Inception, but that's like not even what Inception means.
I never actually realized that until you just noticed it, where I was like, oh yeah, that is.
I've never used it as a verb.
I've used it as a verb, but it's always in reference of the movie. Yeah. But then when you like realize like, oh, what Inception actually is, you're like, you're right, that's not the right word for that.
It's not the right word, but you know what people mean, because the movie was so iconic. Like, you just pulled an Inception on somebody. Like, you planted a thought in their head that they.
I was about to say, how well do you think Inception did convey that process? Not necessarily that process, but how that kind of works.
Not to the last 15 minutes of the movie.
What do you mean, not to the last 15 minutes of the movie?
The rest of the movie is about like the action and the romance and getting down the levels, and then the last 20 minutes, and they're like, oh, your father loves you. And
yeah,
like,
they only did like 2 Inceptions in the movie.
Yeah, they only did 2. And everything was just getting to those 2. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't even say it. Like, I feel that the movie did do this job of doing the difference. Sure. Like, the movie doing the little huddle sense. Like, that's how it actually works. It's never like, oh, I'm just going to say these things and you're going to believe it. It's just going to be like, I'm going to slightly guide you here. I
wish I was more strategic with my woo.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
What would you use it for?
Evil.
Yeah. It's not. It seems fun. It's not fun because maybe it would be for other people, because that's what I deal with. Is, wait, am I doing this right? Is this the right decision? Should I have done this? Is it my fault this ended this way? I don't. It's just so much. I just rather not. And this is why, like, a lot of times I don't want to do this. I'm not trying to convince people to do stuff, but it's so natural for me now because I did it for so long. I can't. I don't. There's no other way.
The other way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're too far.
For those who don't know, WOO, or WOO, stands for winning others over. So that way we have a little definition
learning
for you.
Learning mode.
Yeah.
Learning mode.
Sorry for the alphabet soup of
cool.
WOO.
Look, but now they learn. Their brains expanded. Isn't it great? Can't they feel their gray matter?
So when you say you use, okay, let me ask you this question. Let me think how to say it. When you use your woo, are you using it naturally without thinking about it, or are you consciously thinking about it and the outcome that you want?
Who?
Both. I think it depends who I'm talking to. Like, I want to get better at using it at work. I can do the
It's
latter
nice.
in any social situation. I feel like in any, like, not at work social situation, I can say what I want to get the outcome I want. But in work, I have to be much more, like, strategic, and so I'm not as successful at it.
Do you have to
No,
be
you don't
more
have to be strategic.
because of the quote unquote work barriers like professionalism and
Yeah.
things like that?
And
Here's
also,
the-
like, hierarchy of, like, decision making and stuff like that.
Here's what
And I
I was
don't like that. I'm on, like, this power course right now where I just want, like,
domination. Domination.
Yeah.
She's on her
Yeah.
conquest. She said, I came to these lands to conquer.
See?
Everything the light touches belongs to me.
I'm in my power zone now, so
Look, go
don't
ahead.
cross me.
So, fun fact of winning people over at work. No, you don't have to follow rules anymore. Things just work out. Like, people just believe you. And again, if people who work with me ever watch this, I do things. I do have your best interest at heart. But most of the time when I'm at work, I just do what I want. And people are like, you're not going to get away with it. I'll be like, yeah, I am. Like,
Well, I think
it doesn't.
And that's a good question. Is like, so kind of getting back onto the original topic. When you're winning others over or manipulating through conversation or however you want to phrase that, are you? I'm trying to think because you said you have their best interest at heart. However, Allie,
It's through my lens.
right? Allie, you said like you would use yours for evil, and it's funny. And I'm not saying like that's a joke, but even still, is it right or wrong to use it? Like, is manipulation in and of itself inherently wrong? That's something
we've
that
had
I
this
think
conversation before.
I struggle with a lot. Is like, is manipulation wrong? Should
think
I
we definitely
manipulate
had-
people? Because it
definitely-
has a
I think
negative
also-
connotation associated with it.
Some people don't know what they want until you, like, show it to them or like
That is
give them
toxic. That is toxic. That is that I can see what you mean when you like evil. Like, she immediately was like,
She
no,
said,
I have to
"Some
show
people
them
don't
the
want-
right way.
Some people don't know what they want till they know, until I tell
until
them.
they're told what they want.
Until they're told that this is what you want, sit down and like it.
This and this, that's what you want. Okay, boo? Alright.
And you're gonna like it. Yeah, exactly.
So, while I understand that feeling, I inherently try to fight against that. I used to be very much of that mindset, but now I'm more so. My goal is to manipulate people into being the people they say they want, not necessarily the people.
So you're
that-
motivating. You're not manipulating. You're
Yeah,
motivating.
no, I'm manipulating. I'm definitely manipulating. Like, it's definitely the same thing. It's the same tricks and traits of what I'm getting you to do what I want. It's just what I want is I'm learning what you want so I can then manipulate you to do that. But
Yeah, listen, big picture. That's what any
that's what everyone does.
functioning
Yes.
job is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not even just job. Just
Me
any
convincing
interaction
you of
with
the
people.
shared- No, it's
Yes.
me convincing you of the shared goal we have in order to achieve the outcome of this higher person.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
idea.
Yes, you're right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
then let me ask this question. What is the line, if you can figure it out, what's the line between manipulating and communicating authentically to get what you want?
How true to yourself you are.
You said being true to yourself?
How true to yourself you are. So, for example, and maybe it's just
I
what
don't think that's
I
it.
do. Okay. Maybe this is just what I do.
She's like, savage. She's like,
I don't
"That's
know
wrong."
why people. It's fine. It's fine.
You're wrong.
When I do things, how I convince people to do things is to be the thing they need at that time. I will abandon myself to be the thing so that we can then move forward. This is what I meant earlier when I was like, I feel like people don't know people don't ever know like actually the real me, because I'm never the real me. I'm always the me you need me to be.
Can I tell another interesting story?
Is it about me?
No.
Okay, good.
So our friend just passed away. Our dear friend just passed away. And a story about him. I guess it's a story about me about him.
Okay.
But we took this when we were in college together. We took this test together, and the test was it was the color test, and it's this is a personality test. And essentially, and these are hyper generalized. Essentially, orange is like extroverted, green is like the thinkers, gold is like the organizational structures, and then blue is like the feelers. That's hyper generalized, like I said, but that was essentially the color test. So you took this test, and then whatever color that came out, that was like the color that you were. So I took this test, and they tell you not to think about it while you're taking the test. Just like take it as fast as you can.
Which I feel is impossible.
I took the test, and I was a unicorn because I had it equal on all 4 colors. And I showed my friend, and he said, "You're green," and I was like, "What do you mean I'm green?" And he was like, "You're green because only a green would think about it while they're taking it and then end up with all 4. And he was like, "You're not all 4, you're green." And I was like, and it's funny.
He's right.
And it's funny because that kind of stuck with me for years, because I was like, am I being manipulative or am I being authentic because this is what I would naturally do? And that's something that I still struggle with to this day. It's like, am I being manipulative or am I being authentic? Like, am I just authentically communicating, and this is just my communication style?
I think that if I'm passionate about like a goal and it's authentic to me to like pursue this, and I want others to pursue it because I genuinely like believe in this idea or thing that we're working towards, and I'm trying to like convey why this is good or why they should like it too, is fine. But then it crosses that line when you are talking to someone and then you know enough about them, or you can say like key things or key points that will like tap into that like ethos or pathos or what, I don't know which one it is, but to like make them cross that line.
Yeah.
So using the rapport you have with a person already to essentially persuade their thought process or their decision.
Yeah.
And that would be your definition for like where it crosses over into manipulation.
Yeah, because I know that otherwise you aren't going to do it unless I make it appealing to things I already know about you.
Interesting. That's good. I like that. I think when I would think about manipulation versus just communicating authentically, I think for me it's when that person doesn't actually matter anymore, which, sucks, but that's most of the time. Most of the time I think that person's feelings or thoughts, in my opinion, don't actually matter, but they just happen to have the yes or no or the resource or the ability to do or pull off what it is that I want. And so when
I never removed that. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wait,
I think that's what it is for me.
What do you never remove?
The like person aspect. At least I don't think I do. I mean, maybe I do, but like I don't remove the thing I need done from the person.
But that makes sense because for you, manipulating is intentionally including the person into it, so that they can be naturally persuaded. Where for me, it's like if I like, and I literally told somebody this today. The people who I communicate the best with are the people who we know we don't like each other. Because I can just walk into I can just walk in and be like, hey, did you do that thing? And they'll be like, yes or no, and I'm like, cool, I know exactly where we are with each other. But people who I have to come in, I'm like, hey Cecilia, how you doing today? I love your hair.
And see, that's the thing.
Like, for me, I feel like that's like, I can naturally do that and make it look like a woo, but also if there's something I'm trying to get, then I'm, in my opinion, I'm being manipulative. Because in my opinion, I'm just trying to like add a little flavor, a little salt and pepper to the conversation to get you to want to help me, essentially.
I'm the opposite. Yeah. I am the most direct with the people who I am the closest to. And the people who I definitely don't like is the people who are, like, for me, it's always on. No matter what, it's always on.
Yeah.
And then only when I basically decide, like, okay, I'm going to actually open up and actually care about you is when I then said, and then all that other stuff goes away, and it's just like, look, this is what it is. And then people are like, and I'm like, yeah, but this is what it is. So
I think I'm the same as Daquan. I think if you're my friend, I'm like super blunt, super straightforward, because you know that I love you, care about you, so I can speak to you this way. That sounds bad. But the people who, like, I don't know is the people that I have to, like, kind of tiptoe around and, like...
I agree with that, though. Like, I think I've like, so, I'm just gonna say this because, it's neither here nor there, but Daquan knows me and I know Daquan. Daquan is one of the few people that I could probably say almost anything I'm thinking and be relatively confident that he will not react is the word that I want to say, but it's not the word that I want to say. But he won't like react in any specific way. Like, I could say anything that I like, anything that comes to mind, I can just say it. And he's one of the few people who I know wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, you shouldn't say that," or "I can't believe you said that." Like, but
more likely, I would just laugh.
Yeah, like I think it's a relationship. Like, that's something that you would have with certain people that you wouldn't have with everybody or others. And it's funny too because sometimes you hear about people who, so like you said, the B word is like the word that you don't like when people use. There's certain people in your life who, and I'm assuming that there's probably certain people in your life that if they said the B word to you, you would like laugh it off, or you would think that, like, you don't think that they actually mean it, like the way that they're using it. And I think it's the same for everybody. Like, everybody has words that they don't like hearing, and yet if a specific person says that word that they actually like, it wouldn't hit them the same way. Like, they wouldn't care.
Everything is in context.
Yeah.
Like this goes back to my point before. It's like everything is so conditional. This is why I decided to be the way I am. I'm like, so I know we got into the whole thing, but the reason this is gonna sound, I say things very purposefully. A lot of people sit there and think like, oh, you just say whatever you want to do everything. I'm like, no, I said this word specifically at this time. Yes, because I needed you to feel this exact way. Because this is what I think you need. And I can guess how you will react, but I can never actually know. Like, I'm never going to be able to 100% predict these are the words that I can't use around this person. It's going to take time. It's going to take things. And while I'm sitting there doing that, it's just draining. And so I just decide, let me go, get rid of all that stuff, say exactly how I want to say it. And then after that reaction, I work towards that. This is why, like you guys say, I'll accept your feelings, because to me, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't want to shut you down. The only thing I basically then do is say, I already accepted your feelings. All I need you to do is accept mine.
That's dope. I think I literally just keep a mental list in my head of like the things that I can't say around specific people. I think some people might hear that and think it sounds very insensitive. But in my opinion, I'm like, but I'm literally thinking about you.
Yeah.
So like, sure,
this is for your benefit.
Right, you can say it's insensitive if that's the way you feel, but also I'm intentionally doing something that I know, like I'm intentionally withholding a part of myself that I know offends you. So I'm not doing that in front of you. Which, I don't know, like, I could see it both ways, I suppose.
I don't know. For like people I care about, I'm not gonna do that. I need you to accept me for me. Like,
that's dope.
I need that. That's
real.
The one thing.
That's like really real.
Yeah.
Like you would rather be more like you're.
I'd rather be alone than pretend.
Yeah,
because
like
I pretended for so long.
Around the people who you want to be around.
Yes.
And if they're uncomfortable, then you can be like, oh, okay, well, this is just me. I'm sorry. That's dope.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I don't always like it, but I respect it.
That's hard.
I don't need you. That's all I need. It's not hard.
I think it is hard. Socially, I think it's hard. Like in society, like I would say you're probably more rare than most people. Most people are probably looking for a person who they can be authentic with, and they spend time slowly building those levels until they can get to that deepest level. But I would say there's very few people who are like, this is me all the time. And
accept me as
the way it is from the start, and then that way you can just be like, yes, yay or nay, you know. And I know you're not the only person I know like that. I actually know a few people like that, but I would say that that's far more rare, like in a person, to just be like, this is me. This is how I am.
I don't think it's necessarily rare. I think it's just about a time. It's a leap of faith. Everyone's afraid to do it, and I was afraid to do it. No, I'm not talking about that. So, it's a thing where you get to where people always think it's really hard, but the moment you do it the first time, it makes every other time so much easier. Like, the moment you accept that, you know what? Yeah, they felt this type of way, whatever. It's fine. Like, freedom is better than breathing. Like, that's the only way I can think of it.
That's a quote.
That's a Lupe lyric. That's a Lupe lyric. Don't even.
Dang, Daquan, I didn't know you was a poet like that. Freedom
Calm down.
Is better than breathing. That's dope.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Okay. Anybody got any final thoughts? Penny for your thoughts? A dime for your thoughts? Okay, party peeps. This has been The Real Deal. Catch us next Tuesday at 8:30 right here.
Boy.
Peace out.